Welcome to the weekend edition of the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. I'm Adam Lang, and hello, Sean Aylmer.
Hello, Adam.
On weekdays, it's all about the Fast 5, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. On the weekend, though, we're still going to keep it to 5 minutes, but we're going to pick out the biggest story of the week, the sleeper story, the most remarkable story of the week, and our favourite story. So let's get into it. Sean, what was your choice for biggest story of the week?
I think we'll agree that the biggest story of the week is what's going on in markets, with a little bit of Australian economics thrown in. Bitcoin's value surged to nearly $90,000 a unit, fueled by Donald Trump's election win and a new Congress filled with crypto-friendly politicians. The US dollar's surging. That's pushing the Aussie dollar down towards that 64 US cent mark. Bond yields, which forecast future interest rates, they're rising. We had the US Fed Chair Jerome Powell saying he's in no hurry to cut rates. In Australia, National Australia Bank has come out and pushed its forecast for a rate cut until May next year. The Commonwealth Bank's Matt Comyn, the boss, he sounded unconvinced of his forecast for a rate cut in February. Whether equity markets are surging, although last time Trump came to power, they'd actually gone backwards for 12 months. This time he's hit power and they've been up about 20%. That's Wall Street. Not sure how sustainable that is. You add in the unemployment figure this week of 4.1%. Fewer new jobs created than the previous 6 months. Plenty going on in markets, Adam.
Yeah, Sean, and in the most remarkable story of the week category, we've got a ripper out of Mali. Tell us about it, Sean.
Well, what's going on is pretty remarkable. The boss of Resolute Mining, Terry Holohan, and 2 others are being held over a $250 million tax dispute. The Malian government, a ruling military junta, want greater control over the mining industry. They want 30% of each mine. It just seems that they're demanding about $250 million from Resolute. We all hope Mr. Holohan and his 2 executives are okay. Resolute's share price is down 40% over the past week since this came out. Very risky business working in some of these countries. What about you? What do you think is the most remarkable story?
Yeah, Sean, in Australia, it's those rising domestic airfares post the Rex collapse that we're seeing. So domestic airfares have soared following Regional Express's exit from key metropolitan routes. And this has highlighted Australia's airline competition crisis, with Qantas, Jetstar and Virgin now controlling 98% of the market. An ACCC report this week shows that since the end of July, prices on big city routes are up 13.3% last quarter, even though fuel costs are 40% lower than a year ago. So some prices on certain routes have jumped by up to 95%, and that obviously sheds a consumer-friendly light on maintaining competitive pressure in essential industries. The federal government's $80 million bailout for Rex is only a temporary fix to keep them flying those regional routes until June next year, which happens to be after the next federal election, Sean. So let's have a look at Sleeper Story. What have you got?
I think the drums are beating for the superannuation industry, a $4 trillion honey pot that's largely grown without too much government intervention. This week it emerged that ASIC, the corporate watchdog, has launched action against one of the biggest funds, CBUS, alleging that the fund delayed paying up to $20 million in death and disability payments. If the claim is proven in court, the fund could face fines between $33 million and $49 million. Not sure where that money would come from. CEO Christian Falk apologised for what happened. The question I have over this is whether the delay in benefit payments is just a CBUS thing. I'm sure that every fund at the moment is scampering around to make sure it isn't one of them. We've had the Banking Royal Commission, we've had the supermarket scandal, we've had the airlines blow up. I just reckon the super funds are next in line to feel the blowtorch of scrutiny. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, look, Sean, I agree with that one. And also for me is this slowing wage growth and its implication for rate cuts. So wage growth in Australia has slowed, with public sector wages now outpacing private sector wages for the first time in 4 years. This development, though seemingly quiet, maybe a little envy-inspiring from us in the private sector, is a sleeper story with big implications. Lower wage growth helps relieve inflation pressure, making the case for interest rate cuts stronger as early as next year.
Okay, Adam, what about your favourite story?
Sean, for me, it's the federal government backing social media access for over 16s. So the Australian government's proposal to restrict social media access to individuals 16 and older has actually really captured public interest, especially among parents and commercial competitors to big social media. The policy aims to protect younger users from the mental health impacts of social media, and that is an issue gaining bipartisan support. For me, it's the favourite story because it seemingly resonates with the popular direction for governments to safeguard younger generations while balancing technology freedoms. Sean, what about you?
That's a good story. I just have to have one last mention of Donald Trump. I didn't want to talk about him again, but he just keeps giving. He's naming a bunch of people. Matt Gaetz, Attorney General, top law enforcement job, ally of Trump, investigated for sex trafficking but not criminally charged, investigated for illegal drug use and accepting improper gifts. Tulsi Gabbard, Hawaii, no experience in intelligence, Director of National Intelligence. Peter Hegseth, Fox News Weekend co-host to lead the Pentagon. Marco Rubio, he's taken an aggressive stance on China's emergence as an economic power. Yep, he'll be Secretary of State. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy co-lead what they're going to call the Department of Government Efficiency. Almost Monty Python-esque. Most of these have to get through Congress. The fight will be fierce. The US voted for Donald Trump. They're getting what they voted for.
That's it. 5 minutes and pretty much everything you need to know in the world of business. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Adam.
We'll be back on Monday morning with the top 5 business stories in just 5 minutes. Don't forget to hit follow and join us online on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook and X. I'm Adam Lang and this is the Fast 5 Business News Weekend Edition by Fear and Greed. Have a great weekend.